Yes, good morning. It is that time of the week again. It is my late shift at work today, so I like to get out and do a bit of a morning workout. And normally that means a weird layering video. So what you would have just seen me rubbing on my arm was about half an hour ago was something called MACA root. Now MACA root is just something you can get as a product you can get in supermarkets. You can certainly get it in shops like Holland and Barrett. Essentially, it's like this root vegetable which they obviously condensed down, or they've simplified it down, processed it down is the word I should be looking for, into a powdered form, and it's a funny taste, it's a funny smell. Some people like it, I really like it. My mum, my brother, who I've recently got to try, don't like it at all. The word I can probably say to describe how it smells and how it tastes is malty. It's almost got like this, I want to say, healthy sort of caramel smell to it, but it's definitely a little bit more bitter than, let's say, a nice sweet caramel. It's very interesting. It has got a little bit of sugar in it, but it is nice. It's a very nice, well, I think it's very nice, and I add it to things like porridges, add it to desserts. Don't really add it to sort of layer fragrances, so I wanted to try that one today because I've tried powders before. I've tried spirulina powder recently, and I sometimes find the dryness of a powder can almost help the fragrance cling to it, and then that soaks it up, and then you get a bit of projection. I know a lot of, like, someone throws up first aid kits, they tend to have like this powder that essentially absorbs all the sick, and that's what I'm kind of hoping in a nicer way this maca root powder does, because I think it's quite nice. It's got a little bit of a caramel edge to it, so I'm hoping it'll do well today. So I'm going to do essentially 3 checkpoints on my run if you haven't seen this before. Start, middle and end. Hope to do about 10 miles, and yeah, just give you an update and see how much it compares to a fragrance, well, same fragrance but without the layering on the other side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly apply the fragrance layering. So we're going to use my little sample again today. This one is called Vetiver, clone of Creed Aventus, essentially. Now I've got a proper clone of Creed Aventus, I can see why people say this. This one's really nice. I actually think it's nicer than the Aventus clone I've got, to be honest with you. These things are a nightmare to open. Probably should have done this before I clicked play. So yeah, it's a little bit left in this, and all I'm going to do is, so you can't really see it, I did sort of damp off the powder because otherwise it gets all stuck on my clothing, but it's definitely still there, getting that slight caramel smell to it. I actually think it's very pleasant. I'm surprised my mum and brother didn't like this, but I did do it as a hot drink, slightly different. So there we are. I'm just going to rub that in, and I'm hoping that will bring that powdery. It feels so dry there, very, very dry. That's the only problem with powders. You do get that feeling of almost just drying your skin out. It almost feels like you've put on like a face cream and not washed it off. You know, that sort of masky feeling. It's like closed up all your wrinkles, which is probably a good thing. And then we'll just apply this fragrance without the layering on this side here and just rub that in. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my running stuff off, do a bit of stretching, and then I'll give an initial impression, see if anything's changed. Has the scent changed? Is the performance stronger on either side? So yeah, I'll do that quickly. Next time you see me, I'll be at 10 minutes have gone by. Okay, so we're in my running stuff. It's time to smell my arms. So the side without my watch on is the side with the maca root powder and the fragrance. Okay, and this side is just without the maca root. Interesting. Yeah, there's almost like this slight more resinous balsamic type vibe to the maca root powder, I would say. It's not as synthetically sweet. It's actually taken a bit of the sweetness away. If you don't know the sort of smell of Creed Aventus, there's almost like this pineapple smell. Certainly with this clone, and I've noticed this with a lot of the clones, there's much more of that pineapple fruitiness than the smokiness which some people associate with Creed Aventus from the birch. That's very fruity, very aquatic. And if anything, the maca root has just toned this fragrance down. I'm rarely getting any real sweetness from it. It's a little bit there when I really dig my nose into it, but if not, yeah, there's almost like this balsamic vibe. It's certainly taken a little bit of that sweetness away and made it a bit more formal, a bit more serious, a bit less juvenile. It's almost like a flanker of Aventus, let's say, where it's almost taken like a note like myrrh, for example, which I've known in Acqua di Parma, for instance, and mixed it with a citrus. I'm not a massive fan of that. It'd be interesting to see how this performance changes. At the moment, I think they're about the same. This one just probably feels a little bit stronger because it's a bit more fruity, but I don't think there really is a huge amount of difference. So what we're going to do, we're going to head out for a run now. We'll do 3 checkpoints on my run, and then when we get back, we'll do an indoors impression to see if it's any different. So yeah, I will see you out there. and we are off, and it is lovely and quiet around Percy on a Saturday morning. It's the last weekend before everyone's back at work and school from the Easter holiday, so let's do checkpoint 1. It's just been about over an hour since I applied the MACA route. Okay, so that's the side with the layering. Sorry, it'll get me in all sorts of weird angles. And that's without. Now, I'll be honest with you, the side with the MACA root layering has become a lot more fruity, and the fragrance seems to be getting stronger. Now, I've noticed from experience with this fragrance called Vetiver, it's kind of one of those where it lasts about an hour or two, and you think it's quite strong, and you think, wow, that's going to get me through the whole day, because it's quite synthetic. And then all of a sudden, it just completely disappears, and you don't get anything. And to be honest with you, in counter of that, when I applied this MACA root this morning, I found that, you would have seen, obviously I put a bit of water on my arm first, and I kind of did that to soak it up. Because it's a powder, I didn't want it just to sort of, just go off like dust. But the thing I found with it, it almost became really clumpy, and you got like these clumps of water. So I kind of dabbed it with a tissue just to sort of flatten it down on my arm. And in essence, I reckon that's tamed the actual impact of the MACA root a little bit as well. But do I think, even though, some of that residue would have been lost, obviously I've got long sleeves on as well, do I think that's really had a huge impact? No. But you definitely get that slight malty caramel vibe to it, but it's not prominent. It's certainly not something, if someone said to me, an hour in, what have I put on my arm? Oh, it's that. If you can smell like a melted chocolate, and people would say, oh yeah, I can tell that's melted chocolate. But with this, you can't really detect it too much. I know it's there, and I think that sort of subconsciously knowing it is there, or consciously knowing it's there, is certainly lending itself to making me think that MACA root probably smells stronger than it actually is. So at the moment, I'd probably say this isn't really working. By about checkpoint 3, hour and a half time or so, not sure I'm going to really be able to smell it at all, but I'd say it's there. I'd say the fragrance is about 80% as strong with the layering, and that MACA root is probably lending itself to about 20%. It almost feels like the MACA root needs something underneath it to layer itself, like a Vaseline, to help it stick to my skin better, because the water hasn't really done that. But that's interesting. It's something I could potentially consider in the future as well. But for now, you never know. Once it warms up during this run, maybe that powder will come back out again, release from my pores a little bit, and it'll be a little bit stronger than it is currently. But yeah, I'll update you in a little bit more time. I'm warming up. I don't know if you can tell by my cheeks, but it's time to do checkpoint 2 now. So it's about 45 minutes into my run. Let's see what we get. So this will be the layering. Oh, interesting. And without. Right, so I'd say the performance is still much the same. It's probably about, and they're both doing well here, 70% on both sides. But that maltiness, which I really didn't expect to come that through, is starting to come through again. It's starting to smell, where my arm's warming up, a little bit more like a caramel smell. And what I'm noticing is, when I initially smell it, I kind of get the fragrance. And if I don't sort of give my nose a chance just to have a bit of a break, a reset, and I smell it again, it's the maltiness I smell. And I think it's one of them that I almost feel like if you're wearing it and you've got this MACA root powder on you, why am I talking about this? This is ridiculous anyway. But say you had it round your neck and you applied the fragrance there, I think people would notice it more than you. Sometimes you almost don't realise how strong a certain smell is if you're constantly around that smell. It's like, I'm sure some of you have had this, when you go around like a friend's house or your grandparent, their house has a smell and they wouldn't be able to smell it, like your house will have a smell, and like their clothing smells of it and everything just smells of it. That's what you kind of think you get with this. It's quite strong without you realising. It's almost got a bit of a, bizarrely, it smells a bit like coffee now, like a caramel coffee. And I don't know if that's where there's a slight element of smokiness with this cool vetiver, which I assume they've added the vetiver here instead of the birch to try and give a bit of a smoky effect. alongside that sort of synthetic pineapple note. But it's definitely not as like fruity aquatic as the other side where I haven't got the layering, but they're both about 70% as strong. So at the moment, I'd say performance isn't affected. It's not uncomfortable on my arm, it's quite a light powder, as you can see. It's kind of like a yellowy orange colour. So yeah, interesting. Can't say it's a massive success, but it's one, if you like that slight change of scent picture, it's like caramel twist to a sort of Creed Aventus, then maybe this one's for you. But one more checkpoint to go on this run anyway, and I'll let you know how it's doing. But I think it's actually going to get stronger, if anything. Okay, so final checkpoint. It seems like the world's waking up now. All the cars are around, but has my fragrance survived in that last hour and a half, 2 hours since I applied it with the layering? This is really interesting, wow. Okay, well, that is so weird. But I really did not expect this. This is probably a genuine first for me. That caramel smell, it is like a coffee now. It's because there's a slight bitterness, balsamic edge to it. Again, alongside the pineapple with the layering here, that MACA root has really started to kick through. And I can't believe it, because I thought it disappeared. I genuinely said, and I know I said it at the start, I thought I wouldn't even notice it now. But it's now the dominant thing, and I'll be honest with you, as we touched upon earlier with this fragrance, it's really strong for an hour or two, and then it just seems to fall off a cliff. And it has again here, I mean, it's about, I don't know, 40% as strong maybe, you know, as when I applied it, and that's the same for both sides. But if we're looking at like a seesaw of scales here, in terms of on the side of the layering, the MACA root is probably doing about 70% of the strength now, at least, maybe even 80%. You know, it's really pleasant. It's really, really pleasant. This is, I'm really taken back by this. Again, I had some issues applying it this morning. Again, it became very clumpy and very dry with water. And I still think with maybe an oil, this one's going to work well. But compared to some of the other things I've done, it's very rare something gets stronger when it's not strong in the first place. And yeah, my arm's a little bit golden where I've applied it. But you wouldn't know any different. You know, I wouldn't necessarily worry. As long as it's not a white t-shirt, I wouldn't necessarily worry about putting this one on my skin too much. But what I would probably do, and if anyone's stupid enough to do this like me, not stupid, are we? We're sensible, we're thinking ahead, we're game changers here. If anyone's a game changer, let's say, like myself, and you know, you think, I might try this, make it into a little solution first with a bit of water, maybe a little bit of a waxy substance, oily substance, and then rub it in. Make sure they're unscented so you get the strength that's coming through. But I think this would work really well layered with a coffee fragrance. I think this would almost give a caramel coffee scent. And look, you can obviously get caramel coffee fragrances out there, but this one has that slight, it's like, I don't know, it's like this malty depth to it, which I don't think I've ever really smelt in a fragrance before. And again, it's not a harsh chemical. This is just purely a grounded down root vegetable, so you're not going to get any stings. It's not going to stain your clothes as long as it's dark clothing. I think this is a winner. I really think this is a winner. But what we'll do, we'll finish this run and then we'll do an indoors impression. We'll see what we can detect. But really, really taken back by this. 2 hours in and it's getting stronger, and it's now the dominant smell within the layering. So we are back. It is now time to smell my arm. It's just gone about 9:15. Yes, it's been 3 hours, just over 3 hours since I applied the layering. Let's see what it smells like. Okay, so that's the layering. And that's without. And it's funny, isn't it? When you come indoors, once you've blown your nose, you do get some different smells. Fragrances smell different to me. Now, I'll be honest, the performance is much the same between the two. It feels like the fragrance, though, is coming out more in this one, but it's still not as sweet, a little bit like we said at the very, very start of the video, as it was before. But that maltiness definitely seems to have faded again. I feel like I've got it in phases, but just roll my arm up a bit more. It's there, but I think you need a weak fragrance for this one to really work. It's definitely lasted better than I thought, and I still reiterate, I think this will work really well. As powders will, I think in general, I've done spirulina powder, I've got a hemp protein powder, which we'll probably do next. I think these will work better with a greasy substance, an oily substance. So with the hemp protein, which we're going to do next time, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rub it on a bit of Vaseline, put Vaseline first, rub that into it, and then just see if that brings out the fragrance. So that one's apparently got a bit of a nutty smell, so look forward to doing that. Still think though you need a weaker fragrance. This one's quite strong in those first 2 hours. Probably wasn't the best to do, but you know, it's lasted okay. There's been a lot worse. There's been a lot worse. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, some more good news. 2 more cologne fragrances are coming in the post, and they're coming in the post today. So when I finish my shift at 10 o'clock today, hopefully they'll be at home, ready for me to smell them. And yeah, I hope you've got a few days off then and do some reviews on them. But thank you very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and yeah, more weird layering videos to come. Hopefully you'll join me for those.